And of course, we can't talk about the NFC playoffs and the NFL playoffs in general without the defending world champions. They are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here with me to talk about the world champs, the defending champs, is longtime Buccaneers fan Byron Taylor. Byron, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. As in a busy schedule, meaning sleeping in on a Saturday, ignoring my pets, and debating whether or not I want to catch up on work or clean my house or play Destiny.
Honestly, that's living the dream. That is definitely living the dream. Byron, wanted to start off, as I ask everybody comes on this podcast, especially talking about their teams. How did you become a Buccaneers fan, and what was the attraction to them? And were you a fan back in the creamsicle days?
No. Okay, so I'm from Mississippi. I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. My parents, my dad's from Mississippi. My mom's from Houston. Mom's a longtime Oilers fan turned Titans fan when they moved. My dad's a 49ers fan. So when I was younger, I loved the triplets. I was all about Aikman, Irvin, and Emmitt Smith, with the Cowboys. And after they won the Super Bowl in 95 and they started getting older, I started getting older. So 1997 rolls around, first game of the year in Old Tampa Stadium. Bucs play the 49ers. It was the first game in the red and pewter. I was not about that creamsicle life. And I know some diehard Bucs fans adore and love the creamsicles. I don't. They're nice for throwback day, but I don't really like them. I don't. So first game in the red and pewter, Sapp drags Jerry Rice down by his face mask. Jerry Rice tears his ACL. They could cuss Steve Young in the game, and then the Bucs win the game. And I'm like, who are these dudes? Who is this team? So, of course, the very next year, I'm 14 years old. They open up Raymond James Stadium. There's a pirate ship in the stadium. Come on, man. I was sold. I was 14. I was like, yo, they got a pirate? Yo, and it's got cannons? Yo, bet. Say less. This is my team. So, yeah, I've been a Bucs fan pretty much ever since 97, 98. Once they opened up Raymond James, I was solidified. I'm like, yeah, this is my team.
What is your most memorable moment as a Buccaneers fan? Was it this most recent Super Bowl? Was the previous one under Gruden? What is it?
So the funny thing is my most memorable moment, I actually didn't get to watch live because I was 19 at the time and working at a grocery store. So I missed the second half of the NFC Championship game in 2003. But my most memorable moment is Rondé Barber's pick six. Just him going down the sidelines, closing the vet, pointing at the name on the back of the jersey. Oh, man, I mentioned to some of my clients sometimes of my affection for Rondé Barber. And I every time I see him on screen or I hear his voice, I'm like, look at that beautiful man. Look at him. With that bald head and that beard. Look at him. He looking good, baby. And one of my clients one time was like, why do you like that man so much? I'm like, let me show you why. Donovan McNabb, pick six, 95 yards in the vet. This is why I love that man. So it's Rondé's pick six, and I think maybe Derrick Brooks's pick six in the Super Bowl. And then this Super Bowl was really, really satisfying because I got to enjoy it with my daughter. And of course, she wasn't alive for the first one. And as we celebrated the game, celebrated the Super Bowl, we get back to my house and my daughter's like, yeah, you know what, Dad? I'm actually going to remember this Super Bowl. And I was like, baby, you weren't alive for the last one. You weren't even born yet, sweetheart.
What were the expectations coming into the season? I know defending champs, the biggest goal is defending the crown. But coming in, Brady's a year older, and Gronk is a little bit more banged up, another year older as well. What were you thinking the Bucs could do coming off the championship? Did you think there would be a Super Bowl hangover?
I was definitely worried that there would be one, especially knowing that Cowboys game. I was real worried about that. With the hangover, with Dak coming back, with Brady's older, and lo and behold, I look up and Jordan Whitehead's not starting the season. So I'm like, oh, I mean, we already kind of suspect in the secondary already. So I'm like, man, come on, let's see what happens. I mean, thankfully we clutched out that Dallas game. I think my expectation for this year was definitely being in the hunt to repeat for sure. The funny thing with last year was with COVID and everything was yeah, if the season ends, then hey, cool. I'm not going to get excited until the season ends because this could just end because of COVID at any moment. And as it kept going and going and going, I'm like, wait a minute, we're in the Super Bowl. So by the time we had the boat parade, I was kind of getting okay, I'm through the roof with euphoria. But then I'm starting to worry, like, these dudes who used to just always lose, how are they going to respond to winning? So I was a little worried, but I think I still had expectations that we would be in the hunt to repeat.
Was there a point in the season that you knew out of the gate, they're going back to the playoffs, they're going to have a very long run in the postseason?
Probably that Colts game a couple weeks ago, because the Colts actually came to play in that game. And then out of nowhere, we stormed back in the second half, was like, nah, we the champs. Like, you about to get this work, a second half. And Lenny went off. I think that game for sure was like, oh, I think we good. Because, like, beating up on the Falcons is one thing. Beating up on some of the weaker opponents that we've had this year. But that Colts game, and they had been playing really well coming into that game. And once the second half got going, we started getting rolling on offense, and the defense started shutting Carson Wentz down. I was like, oh, yes, this is the team I want to see. So definitely that Colts game for sure.
Was there a particular game on the schedule that gave you pause? Or was there a loss that gave you a little bit of pause about how effective they could be in the postseason? Was it the Washington game? Was it the Rams game? Was it the New Orleans game?
Ooh. Okay, so I don't remember much of that Rams game. I was at my friend's wedding in Denver, and we had a good time. So I passed out and fell asleep after the wedding because the wedding was like at noon. So I fell asleep in my hotel room, like in the second half. When I took a nap, I think we were down 3 at halftime. When I woke up, we were down 17. So I was like, what the hell just happened in this game? But that Washington game, yeah, that Washington game, I was like, what is up with us today? Like, New Orleans, Sean Payton going to pull something out the bag to try to neutralize us. This is what he does. But that Washington game definitely threw me for a loop. Was like, I don't know what's up with this team. We can't play like that and repeat for sure.
Do you feel like teams with speedy quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks will cause Tampa Bay problems? Or do you feel like it's just more of a team that has a running game and that keeps Brady off the field?
No. I think the mobile quarterback is definitely something that can definitely harm us because, as you saw with Josh Allen, we were dominating Buffalo. And then they started using Josh Allen more in the run game. He was their leading rusher in the game. And I don't know what it is with the Bucs. We've always had the strong pass rush, but it's always been a thing where it was speedy quarterbacks that would always get out the side door and would cause havoc, whether it was McNabb or Vic or Cam, or nowadays, it's Josh Allen, Taylor Heineke, whenever we seem to play him, because he seems to constantly get out of the damn pass rush whenever we play. The last time, a couple times we played Washington. I think that might have been maybe the second or third time I'd actually watch a Bills game and watch Josh Allen play. Dude got skill. Dude's a real deal.
Looking at the NFC playoffs, who do you feel is the team that the Bucs match up the best with?
I want Green Bay again. And I guess it's just the petty in me because of the COVID shit with Aaron Rodgers. I just want him to bow down to Brady again. Whether it's in Lambeau or Raymond James, I just want him to take that L again because I didn't dislike Aaron Rodgers before the COVID stuff. I didn't. I really liked Aaron Rodgers. But then again, with the COVID stuff, made me kind of realize that smug, schmarmy, I'm really smart, I'm smarter than all of y'all kind of vibe that you always got from Aaron Rodgers. Like, it fit. And I was like, oh, nah. Don't get me wrong. I know Brady's a MAGA guy. Don't get me wrong. Look, I have to root for him. Just because I'm a Mike Evans guy. I'm going to keep it 1,000% when it comes to the Bucs. I'm a Mike Evans guy. But not to mention with the Packers, that go back to the Brett Favre days. I love beating the Packers.
I was going to say, it makes me think of Major League 2, where after Charlie Sheen comes back, become a wild thing, and he's talking about that one guy, Jack Parkman. It's like, okay, you got this guy on base. No, I'm going to walk him. I want Parkman.
Yeah.
I want Parkman.
Yeah, I want Parkman.
That's it. If you want Parkman, be ready. That's all.
Yep, and Jake just goes, all right, go get him, Rick. Gives him the ball and just walks off.
That's all it is. And like I said, that always seems to be that thing, especially there's one opponent everybody's looking forward to. It doesn't matter who it is, rival, somebody that's just in the conference that's in your way to the Super Bowl. That's how it ends up being. And it seems like it's at Green Bay. Teams that scare you in the NFC. Is it the Cardinals, the known unknown? Is it Washington, by the chance you might end up running into them again or facing them again in a different situation? So far, it's 1-1 Heineke versus Brady, but who particularly scares you as a Bucs fan?
I would say the Cardinals. The combo of Kyler Murray's agility, his speed, that some gun has a damn arm. Like, as small as he is, that man has a cannon for an arm. And he's so mobile. And like I said, with our pass rush, like, we blitz a lot. So if he can evade the blitz and get upfield, it's a problem. And of course, he's got some nice weapons, Christian Kirk, and then realized Zach Ertz went over. Like, I looked up and Zach Ertz was on their team and was like, when did that happen? But of course, DeAndre Hopkins, man, I would definitely be worried about if my secondary could handle DeAndre Hopkins. We did a good job on Devontae Adams last year, but I would definitely be worried about what we would do with Nuke, because that dude is so good. I know all my cousins in Houston who are Texans fans, every time he do something, they just hold their head in shame.
One thing I want to ask you, we always do a question sort of off the top of my head before we go into our prediction. Leonard Fournette, that was a guy, you looked at it, had that huge resume from LSU, went to purgatory in Jacksonville, and then all of a sudden finding his way in Tampa Bay. He's been revitalized, especially that 4-touchdown game he had recently. What is it that Leonard Fournette does to help this offense, especially help out Tom Brady?
To preface this, I'm a Rojo guy, but I love Lenny, though. I think the thing that Lenny is doing is just being consistent in the pass blocking. He's gotten a little bit better being consistent with catching the ball out of the backfield, but he's gotten real good about being consistent about pass blocking. And I know that's something that Brady absolutely relies on, where that's kind of something Rojo has struggled with. And that's kind of part of the reason why Rojo kind of got benched in that Dallas game, was he just blew a clear block, and BA ended up benching him for that. But with Lenny, it's just that consistency of catching the ball out of the backfield. And he's had a couple drops, but like consistently hitting the hole, getting upfield, and being real helpful in the pass blocking game, because he was a key block in that pass play that won us the game last week.
Do you feel like if Tampa wins it all again, is this the end of the run for Brady, or you think he's going to go to 50? And do you think Bruce Arians holds on for another title after that? Go for 3.
I don't think Brady goes for 50. And I think he already kind of alluded to it. He doesn't have much more time on the clock. And I don't think with our cap situation, we're going to keep kicking that can down the road year after year after year to try to keep Brady, knowing that at some point we're going to have to play Kyle Trask. I can see us winning the Super Bowl if we win again this year. Brady's on the contract for next year. And then they try to bring like Chris Godwin back, which I really need them to bring Chris Godwin back regardless. Like, him and Mike are a amazing duo together. If Brady's on the contract another year, Gronk's going to sign probably one more year. I think they get rid of Antonio Brown. I think JPP might be done because we already got his replacement in Tryon Shayanka. And I think we try to go again for the three-peat. And yeah, I think BA would stick around probably to go for the three-peat. And I could absolutely see, like, in a year or two, BA being like, all right, I'm passing the reins over to Byron. It's Byron's team now. Because I think BA, I mean, I'm amazed that we were able to get BA to come out of retirement. And you want to root for Bruce Arians for sure. Like, he seems like just a genuinely good dude. And I was happy that we was able to get him a chip as a head coach.
Now we move on to the Super Bowl prediction. Who do you have coming out of the NFC? Who do you have coming out of the AFC? Who wins the Super Bowl, and what's the final score?
Okay. I got us winning the NFC again. AFC. Who's in the lead in the AFC? Oh, the Patriots are in the lead in the AFC just randomly. I think the Chiefs. I think it's a rematch from last year. I think it's the Chiefs and Bucs. And I think we win in a shootout this year. 38-35 Bucs win in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I just can't see, even though, like, with Belichick being a mastermind, I can't see him going to the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback who barely throws the ball. I just can't see it.
I just hope, if it is a rematch, I hope this Super Bowl is more entertaining than last year. I tuned out after the weekend, and, like, I can't watch this game anymore. It was like the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. It was abysmal. And just like they said, that line from Billy Madison, everybody feels absolutely dumber for just watching it. That's what it was.
Well, my friend is a big Weeknd fan, so she and I were just like sending memes back and forth to each other after halftime. But, like, hey, admittedly, and it's funny because our 2 Super Bowl wins are 2 very unenjoyable, unwatchable Super Bowls, unless you're Bucs fans. Because they're both blowouts. So unless you're a Bucs fan and you're just reveling in just like the ass beating that we dished out in the Super Bowl, they're not fun games to watch. But it's just like, look at that. Look how happy we were that day. It's beautiful.
Do you have any shout outs that you want to give out? Anything you want to promote? And how are ways people can reach out to you to talk Bucs football on social media?
Yeah, sure. I would like to shout out, obviously, my friend Stephanie, who hit me up on the link on Facebook and her podcast, the Mocha Minutes podcast. I did a guest spot on there a few weeks ago talking about mental health. Shout out to my Space Wakanda crews, my gaming crew for Destiny, and the Black Guy Who Tips, because without Rod and Karen and their podcast, I would not have met so many of these people who have brought me into podcasting, who have become friends, you know, that I love and appreciate so much. So I appreciate all of them. I would like to promote, first off, the people at Canton and the Hall of Fame voters. Rondé Barber needs to be in the Hall of Fame this year. Stop playing. Stop playing with me. I was happy John Lynch got in last year, but Rondé probably should have got in before John Lynch. I'm just saying. But last thing I want to promote is my podcast, which is called The Captain's Couch. It's a mental health podcast that is focusing on Black mental health, relationships, personal development, that I love to sprinkle Black pop culture as talk, like ways to link psychological talking points, theories, phenomena, things like cognitive deficits and cognitive distortions and all those kind of things. So I love to use like pop culture references to link those things. So I'm kind of waiting for the last season of Insecure to finish so then I can get back on the mic and recap the season and going into the new year. You can catch me on social media at Captain, which is CAPT_ingenuity on Instagram and Twitter. And then my podcast is The Captain's Couch on Instagram and Captain's Couch on Twitter.